What's up? It's your girl Alexis Renee, and I just hopped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastards. Oklahoma, stand up.
I've been so low-key, laid out overseas. Counting guapanese, no more cottage cheese.
All right, so we got Alexis Renee jumping off the porch with us today.
Yes, all the way from Oklahoma to Atlanta.
That's right.
For sure.
Yeah, so how you feeling today?
I feel good. You know, I just gotta, I just been out here, you know, doing my thing, like making sure I stay, you know, consistent. But I love Atlanta, the feel of the city. It's a lot of room to grow, and it's a lot of people you can network with and kind of build yourself up out here. So
absolutely,
I love it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a big change of pace than Tulsa.
It's a big change of pace for sure. Coming from Oklahoma, I think when I left, it was just kind of like we didn't really have an infrastructure. We didn't really have a system. So you know, we had artists that were popping, and you know, the radio wasn't really as supportive as it is now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a definite change of pace for sure. You can work every day down here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about growing up out there in Oklahoma. Then, what was that like for you as a kid?
Oklahoma, it was very country. Yeah, it was it was country for sure. I was born in a small town called Muskogee, and so very small. Everybody knows each other. You know, young parents, you know, teenagers. So I feel like I kind of grew up with them. You know what I mean? But my whole family is there, and you know, when I turned like probably like 6, I moved to Oklahoma City. Then I moved to Tulsa, and that's where I spent most of my time, and that's where I, you know, met most of my lifelong friends, and you know, things like that. So that's where I call home. But you know, Oklahoma or Muskogee, it has a lot of like, you know, childhood memories from like, you know, things that pop up as you probably don't remember where it's at, but you do remember the places. That's what Muskogee is. So going back, my great grandma was there, you know, great aunts and everybody like that. So when I want to do like, you know, research and go up my family tree and try to figure out where I'm from, I find answers in Muskogee. But Tulsa, where Black Wall Street is,
yeah.
That's where I started meeting, or started, you know, just becoming like, I feel a person, like having friends and, you know, going to school up there and, you know, graduating and everything like that. So it was definitely coming up in my family. They were always very supportive. The town I didn't really feel was very supportive with music because, you know, it's a lot of country music out there. So we, coming up in hip hop, we didn't really have as much support as the country artists. They always got the bigger platforms. The radio always supported them a lot more. But I was like grinding it out, like throwing, you know, booking shows in high school, like graduation parties. We would like book some of the bigger artists from Texas and, you know, bring them out there and just, you know, try to put on our own shows, give ourselves bigger platforms. And you started really building a name, like going viral, and you know, just having like cool little dance songs back then and stuff. But we started to do as much as we really could. We went as far as we could go. Like we were, you know, radio, opening up for every artist that came down. And then it kind of got to the point where I was like, man, I feel like I need to grow, and it's not as much happening here that'll allow me to be, you know, as busy as I would like to be. So I was like, man, I gotta move somewhere. I thought I was gonna move to New York.
Really?
But it didn't really, I got stranded up there one time going to New York. I'm like, man, I don't really like this whole subway thing. Like, you know, I need to be somewhere I can get to where I need to go. So, you know, I decided to move to Atlanta without even visiting. I didn't have any family. No, I didn't have no family out here. And so I just, I don't know, I just felt like a push from God to come out here to Atlanta, and I felt like I would figure it out once I got here, and I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it a pretty easy transition?
No, hell no. It was, I mean, I feel like anybody that moves to Atlanta, you're gonna go through your little rocky stage of where, when we first moved here, it was my producer who, okay, so I was putting out a lot of music online when I was in Oklahoma, and I met a producer who was in Nashville, and he was just sending me a lot of beats. We would put it out, and we both felt like we needed to move, and he moved here with me, and we just enrolled in the Art Institute.
Okay.
We never planned on staying. We never planned on finishing. We just needed to get here, establish a living situation, which was on campus, and then plan to, whatever else was after that was after that. So when I got here, enrolled in the Art Institute, and I was in maybe a semester, I don't remember. But the people I was rapping with, we all had we were super broke. We got a 1-bedroom apartment. It was probably like 4 of us, and I was the only girl, so they let me have the bedroom. They had their air mattresses all in the living room. It was like, we were just out here trapping it out for music. The producer had his his computer and his keyboard and drum machine in the kitchen or in the dining room area. It was fun. We didn't realize till later, hey, this shit might not work out in this kitchen, but it laid the foundation. It let us know, okay, let's go to these open mics. The first few open mics I did, not first few, for the first, year or two, just doing open mics, they were not shows that were really beneficial, but it helped us meet a few people and start networking, and then realize that they weren't really, good people to be networking with. And we were able to learn Atlanta really quick and kind of move around. But that was the foundation, just getting out here, and then we'll kind of figure it out later. But it definitely wasn't easy. It took a lot of broke days, just trying to figure it out. So no, I wouldn't say it was easy at all.
Yeah. No, that's understandable, though.
Man.
So what had inspired you to start rapping at first?
I would say, I couldn't sing. I sounded really bad trying to sing. I would, sing in church and the Kurt Franklins, and me and my cousins would have some little choreography to it and perform at church. And I just remember one time after performing, the pastor was like, that girl, she's gonna be really blessed. And I just remembered her saying it. I don't know how old I was. She was like, that child is gonna be really blessed. And I always took it as, she meant in music. I don't know if it was because I was sounding bad and she was like, God bless her voice. But, after that, my mom was always really honest with me. She told me I didn't sing well, and I feel like people need that.
Yeah.
So she said I didn't, and I was trying to sing too, but she said I didn't sing well, and but I knew I loved to do music, so I was just trying to figure out what it is that what my lane was I gonna produce, because I had started making beats. They weren't the best. At the time, you're in there jamming to them, but it wasn't the best. So I just started rapping, and people liked what I was saying, so I was like, let me just keep going with it. And it kind of I started listening to Jay-Z heavy, Nas heavy. I fell in love with a lot of New York rappers, punchlines, watching the battles, and then that's why I wanted to move out to New York. But it just wasn't when it became time to move, it wasn't where I was at musically, so I was just maybe somewhere else, maybe Atlanta. It's big on music. And that was the best decision I made. Okay. New York probably wouldn't have worked out the same way.
Yeah. And you ended up on 106 Park Freestyle Friday?
Yeah. That was always a dream of mine. If I couldn't get on the show and get my video played, let me at least get on, Freestyle Friday. So that was something that my mom had set up. She was always very supportive. She was honest, but she was very supportive. Whatever I wanted to do, she would find a way to make it happen. So she was sending my music to some of the producers of the show and just trying to figure out who was over the Freestyle Friday section. And she finally got in touch with somebody. They liked it, and I had to go through the audition phase and everything. And it was intimidating. I'm out there in New York, and there was a whole line of dudes with Timbs on, and you know what I mean? And I'm just this small girl from Oklahoma, damn, what the hell I get myself into? And I remember it was after my New York stage of like really diving into the battles and stuff. So I knew that I could do it, but I wasn't like as deep in it anymore. I was more into like constructing songs. So I feel like at that time I wasn't at my best when it came to battling, but when they, you know, they pull me up to the room, they'll pull you up like 5 at a time, like number 1 and number 2, you know, you guys step up, and they'll turn around. As soon as I step up, they start playing Lil Mama lip gloss. I'm like, all right, I see what's going on. And so I'm battling dudes from New York, and I'm doing a good job. Everybody like, what the hell? Like, and so they call me back to come to the show. They gave me a date. And it was the scariest thing I ever seen, because they're like, you know, millions of people tuned in right now. Okay, y'all ready? Lights? All right, 5, 4, and I'm standing on the stage like, whoa, it's like 6 big ass cameras zooming in and out, and I'm like, you know, it was something that I had never seen before, and it was at the time where, you know, they were really stressing, make sure you freestyle, don't come with no they were saying that on the in between the show. And so I'm like, damn, let me just have a line or 2 in my head, and I'm gonna just try to build off of that. Mm-hmm. Worst decision I ever made. Really? You can't go on national TV and freestyle. It's too many things happening at once. And when it comes to freestyling, you know, sometimes it takes time to warm up. I went on there, no time to warm up. I did okay, but I did not win, and it was like, I was like, man, this is the end of my career. I can't go back home. Like, everybody's gonna see this and they're gonna be like, damn, she made Oklahoma look terrible. But, and so that night I went back to my friend's house, and I was staying at his house while I was up there. And I remember just laying on the air mattress in the living room and just crying like, damn, my career is over. I need to figure out what else to do. And when I went home, they were proud, like somebody from Oklahoma had went that far. And I never even looked at it like that, but I felt like I was embarrassed. So I'm like, man, I might as well just let this music thing go. I probably, you know, felt like that like 3 times in my career, like, damn, it's over. This is it. And, you know, it definitely made me think about like, okay, there's certain things you're gonna listen to these people about, and there's certain things you know what's best. If they say don't freestyle and you're going on, you know, live TV, or you're gonna be on a TV show and this is a big thing, you need to be prepared for anything. So I would say that was what I learned from it. Everybody kind of go through their moments where they're like super disappointed, or they might feel like, damn, this is it, I messed up a really good opportunity. So for me, that was that.
So what inspires you to keep going when you do feel down like that?
Now, just because I've been going so long, really, it's like once you kind of, you know, got both feet in this thing, you might as well just, you know, just keep stepping, because, I mean, what you gonna do after all of this, you know what I mean? You know, and of course you start to realize, hey, I need other businesses to keep this fueled, but I think at this point you gotta, you know, be inspired by like what's happening in your life, and really just kind of, you know, I lost my mom, and just knowing that she put so much into like supporting me and making sure that, you know, this was something that she loved. Let me, you know, do what I need to do to keep motivating her. Whether or not she believed I was good or not, she didn't show that. But yeah, so it was, I think that's one thing that keeps me going as well. Just making sure that I finish what I started, pretty much.
I got you.
Yeah, don't make me cry and stuff. I didn't come here to mess up my makeup. Don't make me cry. Let me get a drink.
Yeah. All right, so how did you meet the legendary Jazze Pha?
At the studio. And what was crazy, I had taken an edible before he came to the studio. It was so bad. And I don't know what, because what was crazy is this was probably like two months after my mom passed. And so we're just at the studio. Somebody comes through with some brownies. I'm like, okay, let me take a piece. I'm like, oh, this is good. Let me take another piece. And we're just in the studio thinking we're being creative, you know, another day at the studio. And then, you know, he comes in, oh boy, you know, Jazzy with all his energy and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you know, looking around in slow motion, I'm like, dang, I gotta snap out of this, because I've never come this, because he wanted to hear our music and what we had been writing. And so I think the pressure started to, you know, kick in where I'm like, dang, this is a good opportunity. This was at a time where I didn't really want to do music anymore because, like I said, my mom had just passed 2 months. It probably wasn't, yeah, maybe 2 months prior. And I was just at the studio. My friend had called me up there to write. And so when he walked in, I was like, man, he wants to hear our music. And I'm high. Like, I ate an edible, and I just felt so unprepared. But I went to the bathroom, like, listen, look yourself in the mirror, like, listen, shake this off, get you some water, whatever you need to do. And we did a song together that night. We were writing it for someone else, but my vocals were on the track with his. And I was able to go home with it. Sometimes those writing sessions, you gotta kind of leave it. But I was able to go home with the record. And I remember just being at home because I had to go home, and I didn't have any family up here anymore. My mom was gone. My sister had to move back to Oklahoma with my dad, and I had just kind of like let go of all the friends that I was kind of entertaining at that time because I just felt like I needed to turn over a new leaf. So I went home and I had played the song and got in the shower, and I was just crying because it was at a moment where I was like, dang, I wanted to give up, but I felt like I felt like God was showing me you should keep doing it. So I kept playing it, and I'm like, dang, I wish I could show my mom. And but it just motivated me to keep going back to that studio. I was like, something is here, something is pulling me to the studio. And I kept going back, and we built a relationship. He hopped on one of my tracks and just supported me through the that whole process. And I learned a lot in the studio with him, just being able to see how he worked.
Oh yeah.
How he commands a room, because he steps into a room and people have expectations of like, show us the magic, you know what I mean? Like, if Timbaland walked in here, we would just be like, okay, let me just see what he about to do. And that's what I learned from Jazze. Like, in the studio, when you walk in and people know that you're dope, you gotta be able to like, snap into it really quick. And I take that with me everywhere I go.
Absolutely, yeah. So how did Timbaland come across your music then?
Timbaland, well, he would put up these beat making videos and stuff, and I just started freestyling to him and tagged him, and he would post me up on his page, giving me props and stuff, and I'm like, damn, like, you always have those like thoughts of like, man, I'm gonna be able to, Timbaland's gonna hear me one day, or when you start doing the music thing. And so for him to repost me, it's like, damn, he doesn't post everybody. Like, there's people that's been doing it a lot longer than I have, and he didn't post them. So I'm like, damn, he posted me, so I did another one, dropped another one, posted me again, and it happened. Then he started following me, and I get a call from his A&R like, hey, can we hop on a call in a couple of hours? We want to add you to Beat Club, which is his platform, where he has writers and producers and stuff like that. And that was another indicator of like, damn, you're moving in the right direction. So to be, sorry, I didn't mean to scratch that while but to be looked at like by people that you look up to, and for them to see the same thing in you that you saw when you were like, young in your room, writing your raps or recording in your room on your little Walmart microphone. For Timbaland and for Jazze and them to see that in me, it was like, man, you might have something. You might want to keep doing this, and take it seriously. Put some real money behind yourself. Be more consistent, and it takes time to like work out all of those little, because you build up your own habits and stuff of like how you promote yourself, or how, and you don't know when you coming from a place like Oklahoma. It's like, I was around the industry. I was, involved in some cool things, but like when you're in it, it's like, it's a whole different game. So just getting some props from them kind of helped me, like, all right, I got to get some real people in my corner, I got to, and, so Chop Diesel has always helped me, like, hey, you need to do this, you need, and has been, let me go back for a second. So at that same studio, when I went up there, I met a lot of people. I was working with Mace up there, Case. It was just like people that I was walking in the studio and they'd be like, hey, can you put a verse on this? Can you drop? And I'm like, damn, I need to come to the studio every single day. It's changing my life. And, I met some really important people at that same studio. I was a part of this writing team, and we had an engineer who was, recording all our music. But I heard him over there with some headphones on. I'm like, what is that? He's like, I'm making a beat. And I'm like, let me check it out. And it was super dope, but he never played beats for anybody. And I'm like, man, I gotta start rapping to his beats. And he ended up being my producer, that dude Sneed. And actually, in addition to that, my boyfriend. And so like, just meeting him allowed me to meet Chop Diesel, who had a studio over there, has a production background. And some of the most, I felt like God was moving me in the direction of people that really could help me out, really could, shape everything for me. And, so they've helped me put together like, my whole team of, the publicists, everything to make it run smoothly, because I was trying to get everything going myself. And so that studio is no longer there. I don't think it's there, but it was I-7. It was over there off of, I believe, like, not Northside Drive, but it was close to, it was downtown Atlanta. I'm not going to try to find the street. But it was a super important studio. It changed my life in a lot of ways, for sure.
No, that's really dope. All right, so you got this new single called Racks, featuring Euro Gotit.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about this song?
Racks was the original song. I was just kind of riding in the car and I was just like rapping or listening to the beat. And I'm like, oh, hold on, I think I got a cool little hook. Let me go back to the house and record it, because everything you think may not sound as good when you record it. But I did the hook and I'm like, dang, this might be a little something. And so I play it for a few people. They're like, oh, that's hard. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna finish it. We put it out, and it does well, but it was out like maybe a year or so, a year and a half before it was picked up on NBA 2K.
Okay, yeah.
And after that, it had been some time from the original drop, but we're running with that, promoting it. But I wanted a way for it to feel new again and to kind of shoot the video even after a year and a half of it being out. I'm like, it would be cool to get a collaboration. So I was just thinking of, who's in Atlanta, that's from Atlanta, that gotta, that's easy for me to reach. I have been around Euro a lot. We've been in the studio, he heard me. And we had mutual friends, so his producer, Drummer Jay, kind of, linked us together, put it together. And, he came to the studio over at Stankonia, laid the verse. We shot the video the same night. And, I really appreciate, like, any time that I hit him up to come through, do some, promo with me. Always very supportive. And, I love working with people like that, people that actually like your music as opposed to just, paying somebody that doesn't really, they just want the money. So somebody like that, I really like Euro's music. I like his message. I like what he stands for. And I would like to, be accompanied by people like that as opposed to just doing the hot thing all the time. Not to say that, because he's super hot, that's why I started listening to his music. And, but some people just kind of do it for whatever's hot at the moment. And I see the benefits of both, but I like for people to be hot and, I love their music and what they stand for. So it's pretty dope.
No, it turned out really dope too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you working on an EP, mixtape, album, or you kind of just focusing on singles and videos?
I say this all the time. I tell Chop, I'm like, man, I'm ready to drop an album. He's like, chill out, not yet. And I understand that, but just the artistic side of me want to just drop all kind of music, no plan to listen to it. But at the same time, I know that it's important to kind of keep building up your momentum, keep building up your fan base, and dropping singles. So I have enough for an album, but I just want to just keep consistently dropping new songs, new videos, and stuff like that. So I think right now that's what I'm focused on. We may get an EP like maybe top of the year, but just finish out this year with dropping singles and stuff.
Do you know what your next single is going to be?
Yeah, no, yes, yes. I know what my next. Well, I have a song that's already out called "Playing Games," so I'm about to drop the video to that, and then I have something really dope that I just did with Fat Man Scoop.
Oh, nice.
And it's really cool because I didn't know how a track with me and Fat Man Scoop would sound, but I knew it would be dope because I knew he was gonna do his thing, and I know I'm gonna do my thing. So Sneed made the beat. He came in and played it. I'm like, oh, this might be the one, because we were just looking for something that made sense, that would embody both of us. And so Sneed came in with a beat that's like knocking. It's New York, but it's Oklahoma at the same time. You know what I mean? And he might throw a little Virginia in there. He's from Virginia too, so. He played the beat. And we took it over to Chop and played it for him, and he couldn't stop moving. So I'm like, all right, so I got to do it now. So now the pressure is on. Usually if everybody liked the beat, and it's like, all right, so don't mess it up. And so I just took it home. I did some stuff, and I sent it to Chop, and he really liked it. Sneed really liked it, and sent it over to Fat Man Scoop, and he really liked it. I don't know, because he had sent his vocals and stuff back. We got it mixed and sent back to him. And so now we just worried about shooting a video and everything. So we're probably gonna go up there, shoot the video, and we'll drop that soon. Right after that'll be the video after the Playing Games.
Okay.
But, yeah. So
that'll be really dope.
I'm excited for that. Yeah, a legend for sure. Another legend.
Yeah.
Another one.
No, you blessed.
That's what she told me in the church. She said I'm gonna be blessed. I received that. Yeah. For real.
All right, Alexis, do you have any last words you'd like to give? Any shout outs before we wrap it up here?
Shout outs, just everybody that's been supporting me. I've had a very supportive family. My city is supportive. I think is made a whole 180. Everybody is like, it's an industry there now. So we have a lot of dope artists that are coming out of there. We have a lot of big DJs that are coming out of there that are real supportive. So I just want to shout out to Oklahoma. I want to my family, my sister, but just to independent artists, man, just keep working. Make sure that you keep your energy clear of anything that may not feel right, and just stay consistent. That's really, the keys to success. Stay consistent and keep the bad energy away from you, because it will affect everything you got going on. That's it.
I've been so low-key, laid out overseas. Counting guap knees, no more cottage cheese. I got racks.